The quantum resonance lab aboard the research vessel Helios hummed with anticipation as Dr. Olivia Reed adjusted the containment field for the 1000th time. Through the reinforced observation window, the asteroid belt of the Proxima Centauri system stretched endlessly, its rocks glittering with unusual crystalline formations that had drawn humanity's first deep space expedition to this distant corner of space. Field stabilization at 98%, announced the ship's AI, its voice steady despite the unprecedented readings flooding its sensors. Specimen containment optimal. Olivia brushed a stray lock of dark hair from her face, her brown eyes fixed on the shimming crystal suspended in the containment field. Unlike the other samples they'd collected, this one exhibited patterns of energy that defied conventional physics. More importantly, it seemed to respond to conscious observation, a phenomenon that had kept her awake for the past 3 nights. Begin recording, Research Log 743, she spoke clearly. The crystalline structure continues to display signs of quantum coherence at room temperature, suggesting. She stopped abruptly as the crystal pulsed with a soft blue light. Warning, the AI's voice cut through her concentration. Quantum field fluctuation detected. Before Olivia could respond, the crystal's glow intensified. The containment field rippled, and for a moment, she could have sworn she saw patterns within the crystal shift into recognizable shapes, impossible geometries that spoke of intelligence and purpose. Initiate emergency containment protocols, she ordered, but her voice was drowned out by a high-pitched resonance that filled the lab. The crystal's light enveloped her, and with it came a presence, vast, ancient, and undeniably conscious. We have waited so long for one who could hear. The voice wasn't sound but pure thought, bypassing her ears to resonate directly in her mind. The crystal's light seemed to flow into her, through her, carrying with it fragments of memory and knowledge that weren't her own. She saw vast cities of living crystal, felt the cosmic dance of quantum particles, and understood in that moment that humanity wasn't alone in its quest to understand the universe. Security breach in Lab 3. The AI's alarm barely registered as Olivia found herself caught in a merger of consciousness she couldn't resist. The being within the crystal, Vaeris, she suddenly knew, was equally surprised by the intensity of their connection. This was not intended, the thoughts came clearer now, tinged with concern and fascination. Your kind possesses unexpected resonance. Through their merging awareness, Olivia understood. The Etherians, as Vaeris people called themselves, had evolved beyond physical form, choosing to exist as conscious energy within crystalline matrices. They had seeded compatible crystals throughout nearby star systems, waiting for other sentient species to develop the capability to detect and interact with them. But something was different about this contact. The typical protocol involved a simple exchange of basic concepts, a foundation for future communication. Instead, Olivia felt her consciousness expanding, integrating with Vaeris' quantum-based awareness while her human perspective seemed to awaken something long dormant in the Etherian's crystalline structure. The lab door slid open with a hiss, and Captain Michael Reeves rushed in with a security team, their faces masks of concern. Through her altered perception, Olivia could see the quantum possibilities surrounding each person, the intricate dance of particles that made up their reality. Dr. Reed. Reeves' voice seemed to come from very far away. Step back from the containment field. Wait, Olivia raised her hand, surprised to see it trailing patterns of crystalline light. This is first contact, but not like anything we prepared for. They're called the Etherians, and they've been waiting for us. They fear what they don't understand, Vaeris observed through their link. As did we, once, before our transformation. But your species holds potential we never imagined. This connection should not be possible, yet here we are, bridging forms of existence that were meant to remain separate. The security team's weapons remained trained on the crystal, but Olivia could sense their awe as the room filled with dancing lights, the quantum effects of her merger with Vaeris becoming visible to normal human perception. Through their shared consciousness, she began to grasp the magnitude of what was happening. The Etherians had arranged this meeting, yes, but not this outcome. The spontaneous fusion of their consciousness was rewriting the rules of both human neurology and Etherian quantum matrices. She could feel herself changing, her mind expanding to encompass new ways of perceiving reality, while Varys experienced the chaotic beauty of human emotion and intuition for the first time in millennia. "Captain," Olivia spoke, her voice carrying harmonic overtones that made the air itself vibrate, "I understand you're concerned, but this is everything we hope to find out here, proof that we're not alone, and more importantly, proof that different forms of life can find common ground." "Your words carry truth, but also danger," Varys cautioned through their link. "Others among my kind will sense this connection. Some will see it as an opportunity for growth, but others—" Images flashed between them, factions among the Etherians who believed in maintaining absolute purity of form, who would view this unprecedented merger as a threat to their very way of existence. "Dr. Reed," Captain Reeves stepped forward, his weapon lowered but his expression troubled, "I need you to explain exactly what's happening. Our sensors are going crazy, and Houston is demanding answers." Olivia smiled, knowing that the next few moments would change human history forever. Through her connection with Varys, she could sense other Etherian consciousness stirring in the asteroid belt, awakening to the possibility this accidental merger had created. "What's happening, Captain, is evolution," she said, watching the crystalline light patterns dance between her fingers. "We've just proved that consciousness transcends physical form, and in doing so, we may have unlocked the next step in human development. The question is, are we ready for what that means?" "They will come now," Varys shared, their merged consciousness picking up distant ripples of awareness. "Both those who wish to explore this new potential, and those who wish to stop it. The choice your people make in these moments will determine the future of both our species." As if in response to Varys' warning, the ship's long-range sensors began picking up energy signatures throughout the asteroid belt, more Etherian crystals activating, responding to the resonance of their merged consciousness. The first contact protocol had never accounted for anything like this, but then again, humanity's greatest discoveries had often come from stepping beyond established protocols. The crystalline light pulsed once more, and in that moment, Olivia knew their journey was just beginning. The boundaries between human and Etherian, between matter and energy, between what was possible and impossible, were about to be rewritten. And she, through this accidental merger with Varys, would be at the heart of it all. The news of what happened aboard the Helios spread through Earth's scientific community like wildfire. Within 48 hours of the incident, the ship's quantum lab had been transformed into a makeshift diplomatic chamber, its walls now lined with additional sensors and communication equipment. Olivia sat at the center of it all, her body emanating a subtle crystalline glow that the cameras struggled to capture properly. Through her enhanced perception, she watched the quantum patterns of anxiety and excitement swirl around the assembled human officials on the various video feeds. Their minds were like constellations of thought and emotion, beautiful in their complexity yet still limited to conventional neural pathways. How quickly her perspective had changed. "They fear the rate of your transformation," Varys observed through their shared consciousness. The Etherian's presence had become a constant harmony in her mind, their thoughts so intertwined now that it was sometimes difficult to distinguish where one consciousness ended and the other began. "Wouldn't you?" Olivia subvocalized, knowing Varys would understand. On the main screen, Director Nathan Pierce of the Global Space Initiative was mid-speech about security protocols and containment procedures. His quantum signature revealed the deep fear behind his diplomatic words. "My people faced similar fears during our own transformation," Varys shared, memories of ancient civil conflicts flickering between them. Not all Etherians chose to evolve beyond physical form. Some colonies chose isolation, maintaining their original biological bodies. Others. The thought was interrupted by a surge of energy from the asteroid belt. Through their merged senses, they felt the approach of multiple Etherian consciousnesses, their crystalline vessels gliding through space with precise quantum manipulation. "Director Pierce," Olivia spoke, cutting through the bureaucratic discourse. "We're about to have company. The Etherian High Council has decided to address the situation directly." The chamber erupted in controlled chaos as sensors detected the approaching vessels. Captain Reeves, who had been standing quietly in the corner, moved closer to Olivia. "Are they hostile?" "No," she answered, feeling Vayrus' agreement. "But they are divided on how to proceed. What's happening between Vayrus and me wasn't supposed to be possible. It's challenging some of their most fundamental beliefs about consciousness and evolution." Through their connection, she felt Vayrus' growing concern. The quantum purists are among them. Sentinel Rylex leads their delegation. Before Olivia could ask about the significance of this, the space around the Helios lit up with crystalline ships of varying sizes and configurations. Each one pulsed with its own unique quantum signature, creating a symphony of consciousness that nearly overwhelmed her enhanced senses. The largest vessel, a massive structure of interlocked crystal formations, took position directly ahead of the Helios. Within its transparent facets, Olivia could perceive multiple Etherian consciousnesses, their energy patterns complex and ancient. Sentinel Rylex approaches, Vayrus warned as a beam of pure quantum energy connected the crystalline vessel to the Helios lab. The energy coalesced into a towering form of living light, its consciousness pressing against their merged awareness with the weight of millennia. Dr. Olivia Reed, the being spoke, its thoughts translating into audible frequencies that made the air shimmer. "And Vayrus of the crystal confluence. You have created something unprecedented and unauthorized." Director Pierce started to speak, but Olivia raised her hand. Through her connection with Vayrus, she understood the delicate quantum protocols required for this interaction. "Sentinel Rylex, we recognize the unprecedented nature of our merger. But surely you can sense the potential it represents?" The Sentinel's form pulsed with patterns that Olivia recognized as skepticism. "What we sense is disruption. For 100,000 years, the Etherian path of evolution has been clear. We transcend physical form, ascending to pure energy and consciousness within our crystal matrices. This hybrid state you have created threatens that established order. Show them," Vayrus urged through their link. "Show them what we've discovered." Olivia stood, letting the crystalline energy flow through her more freely. The humans in the room gasped as her form became partially translucent, quantum patterns dancing across her skin. But she remained undeniably human, her consciousness expanded rather than transcended. "Your path of evolution isn't the only valid one," she said, directing her thoughts both to the Sentinel and to all assembled consciousnesses. "Through our merger, Vayrus and I have discovered something your ancestors might have missed, the possibility of synthesis rather than transcendence." She felt Vayrus' consciousness merge more deeply with her own, lending strength to her words. Together, they projected their shared experiences, the way their merged state enhanced both human intuition and Etherian quantum processing, creating something greater than either could achieve alone. The chamber filled with rippling patterns of light as other Etherian consciousnesses responded to their demonstration. Some recoiled in philosophical horror, while others pulsed with intense curiosity. Sentinel Rylex remained unnaturally still, its energy patterns becoming increasingly difficult to read. "This abomination cannot be allowed to spread," the Sentinel finally declared. "The quantum purists will not stand by while the fundamental nature of Etherian evolution is corrupted by human chaos." "You mean you won't stand by while your control over Etherian society is challenged," Olivia countered, drawing from Vayrus' knowledge of their political structure. "How many others have discovered alternative paths over the millennia? How many were silenced in the name of purity?" The accusation sent shockwaves through the assembled Etherian consciousnesses. Captain Reeves tensed as the energy levels in the chamber spiked, but Olivia maintained her stance. Through their connection, she felt Vayrus' mixture of pride and concern. "The quantum purists have enforced their vision of evolution for too long," Vayrus shared. "But challenging them directly carries great risk." Sentinel Rylex's form expanded, its energy pattern shifting to something more threatening. You understand nothing of our history, human. The path of transcendence preserves our civilization's unity and purpose. Alternative paths lead only to chaos and degradation. Or to growth. Another Etherian consciousness stepped forward from the crystalline vessel. This one's energy pattern felt younger, more dynamic. I am Administrator Lyra of the Evolution Council. And I believe we must study this merger further before making any judgments. The chamber hummed with increasing tension as more Etherians took sides in the debate. Olivia felt Vayrus' consciousness tense within their shared awareness, recognizing the historical weight of this moment. Whatever happened next would reshape not just their own futures, but the evolutionary destiny of both species. Director Pierce cleared his throat, reminding everyone that humanity had its own stake in these proceedings. Perhaps we should establish a joint research initiative? Under proper supervision from both sides? They will try to separate us, Vayrus warned privately. The purists will never allow our merger to be validated through official study. Olivia squeezed her hands into fists, watching the crystalline energy dance between her fingers. They had barely begun to explore the potential of their connection, and already forces were aligning to tear it apart. But as she faced the assembled representatives of both species, she felt something else growing within their merged consciousness, a sense of purpose that transcended individual concerns. This wasn't just about them anymore. They had stumbled upon a doorway to something greater, a potential future where humanity and Etherians could grow together instead of following separate evolutionary paths. The question was, how many on either side were ready to embrace such radical change? The observation deck of the Helios offered a panoramic view of the crystalline flotilla surrounding them, but Olivia's attention was focused on the medical readouts hovering in the air before her. The quantum-enhanced displays showed more than just vital signs, they revealed the progressive merger of human cellular structure with Etherian energy patterns. 3 more cases confirmed in the engineering section, Captain Reeves reported, his expression grim. All showing the same symptoms you experienced initially: quantum resonance, enhanced perception, crystalline energy manifestation. Through their shared consciousness, Olivia felt Vayrus analyzing the data with growing concern. The merger is spreading, but differently in each case. Some transformations are stable, others, erratic. It's like a quantum contagion, Olivia mused, watching the patterns shift. Our merged state must be generating some kind of resonance field that triggers latent potential in others. But why are some people more susceptible than others? The door slid open, admitting Administrator Lyra's crystalline form. Unlike Sentinel Rylex's intimidating presence, Lyra's energy pattern felt more approachable, though no less complex. We're detecting similar phenomena among our own people. Several Etherian crystals have begun exhibiting hybrid characteristics after exposure to your merged consciousness. Olivia shared a moment of wordless communication with Vayrus, their thoughts aligning on the implications. This was exactly what the quantum purists had feared. Their merger wasn't just an isolated incident, but the potential catalyst for widespread transformation in both species. The Sentinel's fleet is mobilizing, Reeves noted, gesturing to the tactical display where several crystalline vessels were breaking formation. They're establishing a quarantine perimeter. They will try to contain this by force if necessary, Vayrus warned. Rylex and the Purists have maintained control for millennia by suppressing any deviation from their prescribed path of evolution. Through their connection, Olivia caught fragments of ancient memories, other moments in Etherian history when alternative evolutionary paths had been discovered, only to be quietly eliminated before they could spread. The weight of those lost possibilities filled her with determination. We need to understand what's really happening here, she said, turning to Lyra. Not just the how, but the why. The Etherian presence in this system can't be coincidence, you were waiting for something. Lyra's form shimmed with what Olivia had learned to recognize as discomfort. There were predictions. Ancient quantum calculations suggesting this star system would birth a critical evolutionary nexus. But the calculations were incomplete, corrupted by time. Or deliberately altered, came a new voice. Dr. Caden Wright, the Helios quantum physicist, stepped onto the deck. His body was beginning to show signs of transformation, faint crystalline patterns ghosting beneath his dark skin. I've been analyzing the original signal pattern that led us to this asteroid field. It wasn't just a beacon, it was a key. Olivia felt Varys's consciousness surge with sudden recognition. The archival crystals. They were supposed to be destroyed during the Great Ascension. Through their link, understanding flooded Olivia's mind. The archival crystals contained records from before the Etherian transformation to energy beings, including data about abandoned evolutionary paths and discontinued experiments in consciousness expansion. Your people weren't always purely energy beings, she said slowly, watching Lyra's reaction. The transcendence path that the purists treat as sacred law, it was a choice, wasn't it? One path among many possibilities. Before Lyra could respond, the ship's sensors blared a warning. Multiple quantum signatures were approaching from the outer system, more Etherian vessels, but these felt different through Olivia's enhanced perception. Older, somehow. More primal. The Deep Path Collective, Varys shared, their merged consciousness reading the quantum signatures with growing amazement. They were thought to be extinct, Etherians who chose to evolve inward, deeper into physical form rather than transcending it. Captain Reeves cursed softly as new contacts appeared on his tactical display. We've got more company. 3 Earth ships just emerged from FTL, looks like the cavalry's arrived ahead of schedule. Olivia felt the situation balancing on a knife's edge. The quantum purists' quarantine fleet, Earth reinforcements, and now these mysterious deep path Etherians, all converging on the Helios while the transformation continued to spread through both human and Etherian populations. Dr. Wright moved closer, his transformation more visible now as crystalline energy coruscated across his hands. The resonance pattern isn't random. It's awakening something. In both species. Something that was always there, waiting for the right trigger. The calculations weren't predictions, Varys suddenly realized, their shared consciousness making intuitive leaps. They were a warning. Or a promise. Olivia turned back to the viewport, watching the crystalline ships maneuver in their ancient dance. Through her enhanced senses, she could feel the quantum potential building, not just in the transformed humans aboard the Helios, but throughout the entire system. It felt like the moment before a lightning strike, reality itself holding its breath. Administrator Lyra, she said, her voice carrying harmonics that made the air ripple, I think it's time you told us what those archival crystals really contain. What were your ancestors trying to achieve before the purists enforced their singular path of evolution? Lyra's form pulsed with complex emotions. They were searching for what you and Varys have accidentally discovered, a way to transcend the boundaries between matter and energy, physical and spiritual, without losing either. A true synthesis. And now that synthesis is spreading, Dr. Wright added, examining his crystalline-infused hands. Rewriting both human and Etherian nature at a quantum level. The question is this an accident, or was it intended? Were we drawn here deliberately? Through their bond, Olivia felt Varys processing centuries of hidden history, connecting dots that had been deliberately obscured by the purists. The Deep Path Collective didn't go extinct. They've been waiting. Guiding. The crystals in this system, our merger, the spreading transformation, it's all part of something larger. The tactical display lit up with new warnings as the Deep Path vessels accelerated toward them. On the other side of the Helios, Sentinel Rylex's quarantine fleet began charging weapons. The Earth ships, caught in the middle, initiated defensive protocols. Olivia shared a moment of perfect understanding with Varys. Whatever was hidden in those archival crystals, whatever grand design their merger had set in motion, they were past the point of containing it. Evolution, true evolution, wasn't about following a single pure path. It was about embracing change, synthesis, the endless dance of possibility. The only question was, would they be allowed to see this transformation through, or would the purists succeed in shutting it down as they had so many times before? Time seemed to crystallize as the three fleets faced each other across the void. Through her merged consciousness with Vaeris, Olivia could feel the tension rippling through quantum fields that permeated the system. The Helios floated at the center of it all, a nexus of transformation that couldn't be contained. "The Deep Path vessels are transmitting," Captain Reeves announced, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. "But it's not like any communication protocol I've ever seen." "Not communication," Vaeris shared through their link. "Resonance. They're amplifying the quantum patterns." Olivia felt it immediately, a harmonic vibration that made her transformed cells sing with recognition. Around her, the other affected crew members responded as well, their partial transformations synchronizing with the deep quantum pulse. Dr. Wright gasped as the crystalline patterns beneath his skin flared with new intensity. "They're not trying to talk to us," Olivia realized. "They're trying to stabilize the transformation process. The erratic responses we've been seeing in some people, they're not failures, they're incomplete harmonics." Administrator Lyra's form pulsed with urgent energy patterns. "The Sentinel's fleet is powering weapons. They'll destroy the Deep Path vessels rather than allow this to continue." Through their connection, Olivia felt Vaeris accessing ancient memories, pieces of a puzzle finally falling into place. The archival crystals weren't just records. They were seeds, waiting for the right conditions. The right combination of consciousness. The tactical display erupted with warnings as Sentinel Rylex's fleet launched their first salvos, beams of concentrated quantum energy designed to disrupt the Deep Path vessel's harmonic patterns. But the older ships seemed to absorb the attacks, their crystalline structures redistributing the energy in complex ways. "Earth fleet is holding position," Reeves reported, "but they're demanding answers. The transformation effect has started appearing in their crews too. They're talking about quantum contamination protocols." Olivia shared a moment of perfect understanding with Vaeris. The transformation couldn't be stopped now, it was spreading through quantum entanglement, awakening potential that had always existed in both species. But they could guide it, help others understand what was happening. "Dr. Wright," she called out, "the resonance pattern you discovered in the original signal, could you replicate it through the ship's quantum lab?" The physicist nodded, his movements leaving trails of crystalline light in the air. "The equipment's already calibrated from studying your merger. But amplifying it shipwide would require more power than we have," Reeves finished. "Not without shutting down critical systems." "We are the amplifiers," Vaeris shared, an idea forming in their merged consciousness. "Every transformed human aboard, every Etherian crystal in range, we can create a harmonic cascade." Olivia turned to Lyra, whose energy pattern showed growing comprehension. The Deep Path Collective knew this would happen. They've been guiding both our species toward this moment for millennia. Not transformation into pure energy like the purists demanded, not remaining purely physical, but a true synthesis. The administrator's form shimmered with complex emotions. The purists called it corruption, but perhaps they were the ones who corrupted our natural evolution. The Deep Path always maintained that consciousness could evolve in multiple directions simultaneously. Another blast from Rylex's fleet rocked the ship. The Deep Path vessels were holding their own, but the quantum disruption was beginning to affect the transformed crew members. Olivia felt it as discordant patterns that threatened to unravel the delicate balance of their merged state. "We need to act now," she declared. "Dr. Wright, get to the lab." "Captain, I need shipwide communications and every scrap of power you can spare." "Administrator Lyra, can you relay our intentions to the Deep Path fleet?" As the others moved to comply, Olivia felt Vaeris's consciousness mesh more deeply with her own. "What we're attempting, it's never been done on this scale. The resonance could cascade out of control. Or it could be exactly what both our species need, she responded, watching more crystalline patterns appear across her skin. Through their enhanced perception, she could feel the quantum potential building throughout the system, in the transformed humans, in the Etherian crystals, in the very fabric of space itself. The ship's speakers crackled to life with Dr. Wright's voice from the lab. Resonance chamber ready. But Olivia, the patterns I'm seeing, this isn't just about transformation. These frequencies, they're like a key turning in a lock. The final protocol, Vaerist suddenly understood, ancient knowledge surfacing through their connection. The deep path didn't just seed the crystals here. They created a quantum archive of all possible evolutionary paths, waiting for beings capable of accessing it. Sentinel Rylex's voice boomed through the command channel, "This ends now. You cannot be allowed to corrupt the purity of our ascension." "Your ascension was a dead end," Olivia responded, feeling the truth of it through her connection with Vaeris. "A beautiful one, but still a dead end. Evolution isn't about leaving things behind, it's about integration, synthesis, becoming more than we are while keeping what makes us unique." She felt the deep path fleet's harmonic pulse intensify, synchronized now with Dr. Wright's resonance chamber. The transformed crew members began to glow with internal light as the quantum patterns aligned. Through their merged consciousness, Olivia and Vaeris began to grasp the full scope of what the deep path had planned. This wasn't just about humans and Etherians. The quantum archive contained evolutionary possibilities that could transform consciousness itself, opening doorways that both species had only dreamed of. But accessing it required something unprecedented, a perfect synthesis of physical and energy beings, of matter and consciousness, of order and chaos. It required them. As Rylex's fleet prepared for another attack, Olivia and Vaeris made their choice. Through their bond, they began to sync with the deep path's harmonic pulse, their merged consciousness becoming a conduit for something far larger than themselves. The question was, could they complete the protocol before the purists stopped them, and were both their species truly ready for what would be unleashed? The universe held its breath as quantum harmonies resonated through the Proxima Centauri system. The Helios had become the epicenter of something unprecedented, a transformation cascade that defied both human and Etherian understanding. Through their merged consciousness, Olivia and Vaeris directed the flow of energy, their combined awareness expanded to encompass the entire fleet. "Quantum Archive protocols activating," Dr. Wright announced, his voice distorted by the crystalline energies surging through the ship. "The deep path vessels, they're not just amplifying our signal, they're forming some kind of lattice structure." Olivia watched through enhanced senses as the ancient ships moved into precise formations, creating geometric patterns that seemed to fold through dimensions she hadn't been able to perceive before the merger. "They're opening a door," Vaeris shared, their combined consciousness recognizing patterns that had been encoded in their very DNA, waiting to be awakened. "Multiple quantum breaches detected." Captain Reeves called out, his tactical displays showing reality itself beginning to ripple around them. "Some kind of space is folding." Through their connection, Olivia and Vaeris felt it, the quantum archive awakening, not just as information but as a living library of evolutionary potential. The deep path hadn't just preserved knowledge, they had preserved entire timelines of possibility, waiting for consciousness evolved enough to access them safely. Sentinel Rylex's fleet launched another barrage, but this time the energy weapons passed harmlessly through the quantum lattice, absorbed into the growing cascade of transformation. "You don't understand what you're unleashing," the Sentinel's voice boomed across all frequencies. "There are reasons we chose the path of pure energy. The other paths led only to chaos and destruction." "No," Olivia responded, her voice carrying harmonics that made reality itself vibrate in sympathy. "They led to change, to growth, to possibilities you were too afraid to explore. The archive isn't just showing us what could have been, it's showing us what still could be." Through their merged awareness, images flooded their consciousness, civilizations where physical and energy beings evolved side by side, sharing knowledge and perspectives across the boundaries of form. Worlds where consciousness itself had evolved into states that transcended traditional definitions of life and intelligence. And through it all, a pattern, a purpose that the Deep Path had recognized eons ago. The universe doesn't want us to choose a single path, Olivia realized, sharing the epiphany with Varys. It wants us to embrace all paths, to become bridges between states of being. That's why our merger was possible. We're not corrupting evolution, we're fulfilling it. Administrator Lyra's form pulsed with intense patterns as she processed the data flowing through the quantum lattice. The archive, it contains more than just Etherian evolutionary paths. There are patterns here from dozens of species, all interconnected, all pointing toward convergence. Dr. Wright finished, his partially transformed body now glowing with internal light. Not just of our two species, but of all conscious life. The Deep Path didn't go extinct, they spread throughout the galaxy, seeding these archives, waiting for species ready to take the next step. Through their bond, Olivia felt Varys's consciousness expand with understanding. This is what my ancestors glimpsed before the purists forced their single path. Not transcendence or ascension, but synthesis. A universe of infinite possibility, accessible to those willing to evolve in all directions at once. The quantum lattice had fully formed now, creating a network of living light that connected all three fleets. Even the Earth vessels had been drawn into the pattern, their crews experiencing the first waves of harmonious transformation. Olivia could feel the change spreading, not as an invasion or corruption, but as an awakening of potential that had always existed. "You can't stop this, Sentinel," she broadcast, feeling Varys's support through their link. "But you can be part of it. Your path of pure energy isn't wrong, it's just incomplete. The archive shows us that every path, every choice, adds to the symphony of consciousness. We don't have to choose between physical form and energy being. We can be both, and more." Through their enhanced perception, they felt the moment Rylex's resolve began to waver. The Sentinel's energy pattern showed signs of recognition, ancient memories stirring, questioning the dogma that had limited Etherian evolution for so long. The quantum archive pulsed with increasing power, each wave of energy carrying new possibilities, new potentials for transformation. But it wasn't chaotic or destructive as the purists had feared. Instead, it was like a key unlocking doors that had always existed in the structure of reality itself. The Deep Path didn't just preserve knowledge, Olivia shared, her understanding merging with Varys's ancient wisdom. They preserved hope. Hope that consciousness could evolve without leaving pieces of itself behind. That we could become more without losing what we are. The transformation cascade reached a crescendo, the quantum lattice now spanning the entire system. Through their connection, Olivia and Varys guided the process, helping others understand what was happening as their consciousness expanded. Some chose paths closer to pure energy, others remained more firmly physical, but all were connected through the new quantum awareness that the archive had awakened. "We're receiving signals from Earth," Captain Reeves reported, his voice filled with wonder. The transformation effect, it's spreading. Not just to humans and Etherians, but to all conscious life it encounters. It's like the universe itself is waking up. Not waking up, Varys corrected through their bond. Remembering what consciousness was always meant to be, infinite, connected, ever-evolving. As the quantum archive completed its work, Olivia felt the truth of it all. Their accidental merger hadn't just changed them or their species, it had unlocked the next stage in the evolution of consciousness itself. The Deep Path had prepared the way, preserving the knowledge until beings capable of understanding it could find it. The future that stretched before them now was both thrilling and terrifying in its potential. Not a single path of evolution, but an infinite web of possibilities, each consciousness free to explore and grow in its own way while remaining connected to the greater whole. "So," she asked, feeling Varys's warmth in her mind, "what do we become now?" "Everything," came the answer, not just from Vaeris but from the quantum archive itself. Anything. Whatever we choose, together. And in that moment, as transformed humans and Etherians began to explore their new potential, as the quantum lattice stabilized into a permanent bridge between states of being, Olivia understood. This wasn't an ending at all. It was, in every sense that mattered, just the beginning. The universe, in all its infinite possibility, waited to be explored by consciousness finally ready to embrace its true potential. And they would face it as they had faced everything else since their merger, together, in perfect synthesis of matter and energy, physical and spiritual, order and chaos. Evolution, they had discovered, wasn't about becoming something else. It was about becoming everything you already were, and more.